people say that we are at the gates of the new golden age, and I can see people waking up nowadays more and more. I mean, finding the way back to their spirituality.
Mm-hmm.
Do you agree with me on this?
I do. I think it's a little bit almost relative to what I was just saying about. Well, I said hundreds of years from now, but you know, it could be anything from a year from now to thousands. But I don't know. But you know, eventually, people are going to realize that this faith they have is nothing more than faith. And it's not because of a man who died on a cross. It's not because of whatever you believe in. At the end of the day, us human beings are so amazing when we break, you know, it's cliche to say, but when we break chains, when we just break down walls that were built around us, not the ones we built ourselves, but the ones that were built around us, or the ones that were bound around us, when we break that and we really begin to observe things, you know, in our black metal lingo or language of the occult, when we open the third eye, when we open the mind, you hear about people taking hallucinogenics and having this trip that opened new windows, new doors, and when they came back from their journey, they don't see life the same. Well, you know, it might take some work, but you don't need those things. You can achieve, the reason why these hallucinogenics, which I've never done, but the reason why these hallucinogenics work is because, yeah, they do this to the mind. There's a process, a chemical process in the brain, but it's already there. Just like when we dream. When we dream and then we wake up, or even if it's a nightmare, when we wake up, it's as if we experience something sometimes amazing, if the dream in our sleep was amazing. And think about that. Now, being able to achieve a dream level of being, but awake, you see? So that is being spiritual. And I'll repeat it again. Yes, so maybe I'm saying the obvious and what things we already know, but it's important to put these things in bold fonts, that spirituality is not just only a dream state. It can be a reality. It really can. You know, what would you do if you went blind tomorrow? What will your world be? If you can no longer see, what is it? Just complete blackness, darkness? Yeah, it will. But the mind will start to seek heightened levels so the brain can survive. Because if you don't open that third eye, and not having eyesight, you're almost brain dead. The brain will die. So to survive and for the brain to function, it's going to seek things that, though you can't see, the imagination will kick in, and the imagination is a beautiful thing. This is why kids, when you're very young, children, they need to be, you need to let them imagine things and dream things and imagine outrageous things. And as we grow older, we're told to grow up and mature and stop being so imaginative to a certain extent, right? And no, it's important. As an artist, we have that excuse that we can do that. But everybody needs to. We need to imagine, we need to think, we need to just not let anybody say, oh, that thought of yours is stupid or disgusting, or it doesn't matter, sorry, that's how the brain works. And all those things put together are what make spirituality exist. And yes, it's important. It's probably the most important thing for the mind. After having your feet placed solid on earth and also being a realist, right? We need to be realistic also.
So that's basically how you can conquer those who want to control you, because then you take control of yourself.
The mind is very powerful. Yeah, when we talk about conquer and control, people can be bigger than you, physically stronger, but, you know, this may be an odd example to people, but one of my favorite quotes is from Bruce Lee, one of his famous interview where he said, "Be like water." Water may seem weak. It's not steel. It's not a hard object. It's not, but yes, water will carve itself into anything. Water will carve into rock, into steel. It can rust things. It can destroy things. It can dissipate. It can evaporate, and it can reappear, and it can recycle. It's strong. It can be invisible and reappear. And water's an amazing thing, and the mind can be like water. It can adapt. It can move things because the spirit empowers the person, and the person from that can have great ideas and influence people and influence their mind. And you can have an enemy before you, and you can in fact influence and inspire that enemy mentally, and even change his thoughts and change his mind about anything from attacking you to destroying your empire or it's important. That's why religion has been used sometimes more than weapons. You can run out of ammunition. You can run out of weapons. You can basically be stripped down to just maybe a rock and a stick, and that can be taken away. And what are you left with? The mind. And with the mind, we can do amazing things. We all know this.
Yeah. If you were given control over people, let's say control over their minds, would you use it?
I would use it to inspire them to think independently, but also to share their abilities with the others so they can have the synergy, and everybody exchange this ability of the mind, so it's one strong group, which is stronger than, yes, I know the lone wolf, and the lone wolf is great, but strong groups are very great, very. But you should always be a strong wolf, lone wolf also, because there's times where you will be alone, you will be. But that, to me, is more how maybe a leader. Not everybody is born a leader. Not everybody is a natural born one. And I'm not claiming to be one by no means, not at all. But it's important to be an individualist. Very important to be an individualist. But I think that one of the greatest abilities a leaderistic person should have is the ability to respect the individuality of each person and find their strengths and leave them alone and let them develop that. So people, when they feel bound, they rebel. Don't let people, don't take people to a level to where they want to rebel, but rather feel proud of themselves. And when a person feels proud, when you've given them their independence and their freedom of every kind of freedom, most likely as a group, they'll unite very well. Very well. So that's kind of how I would think. Yeah.
You need a very strong personality to control yourself, not to try to control the others in different ways.
Excellent observation, very much. And I think what you just said, I think most people consciously or unconsciously know that. That's why they react positively to trust. That's what it is, what I said earlier. It's this blind faith, trust. But I hope people don't take it too literally, everything I'm saying. I know. Humans are not perfect. It doesn't always work. A great formula sometimes is nothing more than a great idea. But a great idea usually should work if executed well. What's a great idea? Well, we could be here for years talking about what a great idea is. But nature will always tell you what a great idea is. And look at animals. Look how they behave. Sometimes in group they work really well. Yeah. So.
Many people have asked you already what Satanism means to you, so I'm not going to do that. But what you said, from what you said, to me it seems that the essence of it is to find the God in yourself, and by God I mean the limitless creature, to embrace it, accept it, and try to live up to it. Am I right?
Excellent, yeah.
Okay, so I was thinking that this is something that that is any spiritual being can say. I mean, where does Satan come into the picture? Who is Satan in this concept?
Well, it's important for people to understand that Satan is just a word of choice. It's a word of choice, like calling the color red, red, black, black. It's why those words, I don't know. Each language has that word. But when you talk about a god, well, why does this god have this name? Why is Pan called Pan? You know, now you're getting into linguistics, into language and the roots of it. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what culture you're from. These are man-made gods. These are mythologies. These are things that are, you know, symbolic. I know you know this, but it's an observation that needs to be put into place, because Satan is no different. And Satan is not just an invention of black metal, or yes, it's biblical. It's Abrahamic rooted. It's a Hebrew word. So it's not fictitious in that sense. It's a real. There's a real meaning behind it, technically. Well, the second thing people need to really understand is, you know, call it a culture or not, I was born in the American continent. In the American continent, from the very top to the very bottom of the South, north to south, it's a very, very Christianized area of the world. It's about as Christianized as Europe was hundreds of years ago, to the extreme. It's changed a bit, but still, it's very prominent. And what better than to define yourself as a Satanist when you are within a Christianized, very Christianized area of the world? It makes sense. It just makes sense.
So I asked you already about the band's name. Now I would like to ask you about the name Dagon. Why you chose this name?
From everything from the superficial reason about like how it resonates. It's short, it's simple, easy to remember, all the way to the fact that it's from a period of time that I like a lot. There's some disputes over if it's Phoenician, if it's Sumerian. It's both. It evolved from, you know, like all religions or mythologies, gods, usually mythological figures, have evolved through different cultures. Dagon originally was a Sumerian god, and then he evolved into a Phoenician god of the sea. I like the water a lot. I like the ocean a lot. The ocean is a very mysterious place. It's another cosmos, right? There's a big microcosm of life in there. It's always been a mysterious thing, the sea and everything behind the name. So that's why.
If it wouldn't be music, how would you express yourself?
Well, I can tell you what I was supposed to be before music, and that's probably how I would have expressed myself. My dream was to be an F-15 fighter pilot. So yeah, that's what I was supposed to be. My dad was really big in aviation, and I was really into fighter planes, and that's really what I wanted to do. That may not be an expression, but that was my passion. It actually still is a bit. So, but I'd still be doing music. It's also in my blood.
Do you have a favorite philosopher or writer?
Yeah, I mean, really, yeah, Edgar Allan Poe. I really like his style. I really like it. It's clear. It's not too cryptic. It's cryptic, but not over. yeah, he wasn't a philosopher, but he was an awesome writer. I loved Edgar Allan Poe's writings. Soran. I hope I said it right. Really liked his writings. Very obscure. Tough stuff. Probably those two writers I like a lot.
Could you please list your 5 favorite albums of all times?
Bathory the Return, Creator Endless Pain, Sodom Obsessed by Cruelty. After 3 it starts getting difficult. Immortal Pure Holocaust. Probably AC/DC For Those About to Rock. We salute you. Those 5.
What's the meaning of life?
The meaning of life is to find out, first of all, what that meaning is, and to never know. That's what it is. To never know what it is.
That sounds good. Do you have a message to the fans?
To what?
To the fans. Do you have a message to your fans?
You know, just really just be yourself. Take this music seriously. Respect it a lot. Don't get too fanatical about it. I think sometimes, in my personal opinion, sometimes people get too fanatical and they get too stupid with it. But you can never be too stupid or fanatical when you're doing things on a very level-headed manner. Meaning, like we talked about earlier, enjoy the brutality, be fanatic about what you like, but be spiritual about it. Remember, music is also a very emotional thing. So when people like a certain band or genre or any type of music, respect that. They have their reasons for it. But really, hopefully this music isn't just a stage of your life. Hopefully it is part of your life forever, and that way we can make metal in general something much greater than just this rock and roll thing that some people think it simply is. Serious music, what some people think is called classical music, lasted for hundreds of years. So I hope this music can be the same.
Great. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.